Let's now roll into the greatest UFC 240 takeaways. What was the best thing in Edmonton, Canada? Well, Max Holloway is still the best. We'll be hard-pressed to see featherweight able to dethrone Max Holloway after he cruised to a unanimous decision win over Frankie Edgar in his rebound fight following an unsuccessful jump to 155 earlier this year, and Holloway's pace, output, distance management, and durability are frightening. And overwhelming combo, and in some pretty sharp takedown defense, and a lengthy frame for a 145-pound division, it's a nearly impossible task to defeat the Hawaiian champion. Holloway kinda was never in real danger against Edgar. After 25 minutes it looked like he could have invited Alexander Volkanovski in from cage side and gone again. I mean, Frankie didn't put up on a disappointing performance, you know. Frankie fought well, but Holloway is only 27. It's possible we still haven't seen his peak form, and this could be scary. Number 2, well, Volkanovski is eager, but Holloway's earned his time, you know. Speaking of Volkanovski, the guy deserves all the credit for making what he described as a treacherous trek from Australia to Edmonton in order to serve as an alternate for Holloway versus Edgar if anything went wrong. Fortunately it did not, but Volkanovski still made his presence known, watching the main event intently from cage side and speaking about post-fight to ensure everyone knew he was the next contender for Holloway's belt. All signs point to Volkanovski getting his title shot, but Holloway has earned the right to choose when and where that happens. He's fought in 3 title fights, spent 14 rounds in the octagon since December. Given one of those matchups was a beatdown from Poirier, he's perfectly within his right to seek medical testing before agreeing to compete again. In a perfect world, Holloway vs Volkanovski would be the co-main event for the UFC 243 Stadium show this October in Australia. But that should only happen if Holloway is 100% ready for it physically and mentally. Otherwise, him waiting until November or December is the more logical play. He's earned the right to fight on his own timetable. Number 3, well, Cyborg's future. Well, Cyborg had ups and downs with UFC boss head honcho line bullshithead Dana White. Chris Cyborg's post-fight comments and those offered by UFC president Dana White. It's very hard to envision the former UFC Women's 145 champ coming back to the octagon. It could happen, but the outlook is bleak, and Cyborg, she kinda did what she was supposed to in giving Felicia Spencer a beating in a largely one-sided affair. Still though, lying bullshithead Dana White chose to tear her down during her post-fight media rounds in what could only come across as a tactic to devalue the Brazilian heading into free agency. I just don't know, man. There was a hurt in Cyborg's eyes. It was real, as she opened up about how being at odds with the company president has impacted her life. A rematch between Cyborg and Amanda Nunes would be among the most anticipated fights in women's MMA history. I'd like to see it just like everybody else, you know. I'd like to see it, but at the moment, I'm sorry, but at the moment I'm kinda unsure whether it happens. I'm very unsure because Cyborg is unhappy and this is not good. Felicia Spencer is a tough woman, that's under number 4. She's a tough woman, tough lady. Not much more to add here. Just to take a moment to recognize this Canadian strong girl for absorbing more significant strikes from Cyborg than anyone who has shared the cage with the Brazilian powerhouse. Spencer was right there for all 122 of Cyborg's significant blows, and while it certainly took it out of her, she always tried to stay in the fight and left with her head held high. This girl deserves the respect, and she might be one of the most dangerous names in this division in the future. One dangerous 145 fighter. Geoff Neal. He received the performance of the night bonus for victory over Nico Price TKO stoppage. I think he is more than a rising welterweight contender. Ahead of his second round TKO Price, I got to say that he did land some thunderous strikes to end the fight, but they came from top position in a ground and pound manner, following some rarely utilized wrestling from Hands of Steel, which these are transitions we don't see every day. And Nico Price said 15 or 20 strong blows. I didn't count, I was unsure how many, but it was so many strong blows, and the referee really had no choice but to stop the fight. Crazy enough, that wasn't even the game plan throughout camp. Neal revealed post-fight his coaches called an audible on the bus ride over to the venue, directing him to use more takedowns. That actually worked, and Neal is now 4-0 in the UFC. Man, it's so hard to dislike Neal, you know. It's very, very hard to dislike him because he balances MMA career with being a waiter at Moxie's Bar Grill in Dallas. He also seems as down to earth as it gets, and Neal appears to be one of the good ones in and out of the octagon. And if he keeps it up, it won't be long until more people take notice. I mean, he has a professional contract and he still does another job. That's definitely a thing to respect.